Okay guys, so today we're going to be extending our learning on inequalities from last week's video. And what I want you to see first is that I've already updated your table of contents. So if you want to pause and make sure you get that updated, you can do that right now. It even has today's warm-ups in it. And then I'm also going to write in what we're doing today, which is multi-step inequalities. And I believe that you need to skip 2 pages for warm-ups. So we're going to be on page 21. If your page numbers are a little bit off, that is okay. Just make sure your page numbers match your table of contents. So if it's different than mine, that's okay as long as they match yours. So pause that if you need to update that. If not, then keep going with me. We're going to go to, not to the back of the warm-up, but the page next to the 2 pages from the warm-up. And today's lesson is all about multi-step inequalities. Multi-step inequalities. Okay, so I told you today in class that we don't need to be fretting. We don't need to fret because inequalities is just like solving equations where we solve for x or we solve for another variable, and there's just a few minor changes, but so far it's been the same. However, here's the change, okay? So write this down. Solve inequalities just like equations. And then I'm going to make a big exception, except and then here's your exception. Flip the inequality sign. Okay, and an example would be less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Those are inequality signs. When you divide or multiply both sides by here's the big change. This is only when you do this. Negative. Only when you divide it by a negative number. Okay. So let's do an example of that. Okay. Example, negative 8a minus 11 is less than or equal to 37. Okay? Just treat it just like you do the equations. We want to try to get this a by itself. So we have to get everything that's over here on this side of the inequality sign that's not an a over here. So we're going to start with just our regular numbers first. We don't have any distributing. We don't have any combining like terms. So we can move on to, we're going to add 11 to both sides. Okay. When we do that over here, it makes this a 0. Because 11 plus a negative 11 is a 0. And over here, it makes this 40, not 30, 48. 48. You still have the negative 8a. So what we have now is negative 8a is less than or equal to 48. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question, and if you want to say it out loud, say it out loud. Don't be afraid. If you want to say it in your head and then check with my answer, do that. But I need to know that you know how to do the next step. So we need to get this a by itself. Right now, there's multiplying happening. That's attaching this negative 8 to the a. So we have to do the reciprocal. We have to divide by negative 8 on both sides. Divide by negative 8 on both sides. Woo! This should be like a light going off in your head, like a caution light. Bang, 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 bang. We just divided by a negative. We just divided by a negative. So what has to happen? If we read this again, what has to happen? Flip the inequality sign when you divide or multiply both sides by a negative number. We just did that. So now we're going to have to flip our inequality sign. And now it's going to be greater than or equal to. And only because we divided off a negative 8, a negative number. So, of course, this would just be a. And 48 divided by 8, by negative 8, it's a positive divided by a negative, is 6. So your answer is a is greater than or equal to 6. This inequality sign flipped when we divided by a negative number. Let's do one more of those, and then we'll do one with distributing, and that's it for today. Eight minus 12x is greater than or equal to negative 4. Remember, you can stop the video at any point. That's the beauty of these videos. If I'm going too fast, you can stop it. You can rewind and see what I said. If you need to go to the restroom or your mom's calling you, you need to stop the video. So stop the video, pause it, and then come back. It's okay. All right, so we need to get this x by itself. So we're going to start by moving the numbers over because we don't have any distributing or combining like terms. So we need to subtract 8 from each side because when you do 8 minus 8, it equals a 0. So we're going to subtract 8 from each side. When we do that, we get, it's like you're adding negative numbers over here. So you get a negative 12 over here and negative 12x. You still have this negative. It's greater than or equal to negative 12. So what do we do next? I hope you're saying in your head or out loud, divide both sides by negative 12 to get this negative 12 off of the x. So the x is going to be by itself. And a light should have gone off. Caution! We just divided by a negative number. Star that. Okay? When you do that, you have to flip your sign. Now it is a less than or equal to sign. And now we can divide like normal. This becomes 1x or just x because it cancels out. And then over here we have a negative 12 divided by a negative 12. And you get a positive 1. And your answer is x is less than or equal to positive 1. All right, let's dial it up a little bit harder. And you can handle this. You just had a test over it, so I know you can do it. Let's see here. this is what your homework is going to be in class tomorrow. We're going to be doing some multi-step inequalities to review for our quiz on Thursday that will count as a test grade. So let's see here. -6 times 3 plus a negative x is greater than or equal to -12. So the first thing you should be asking yourself is, they're distributing? Yes, there is. We're going to distribute this -6 into the parentheses for both terms. -6 times 3 is -18. -6 times it's like a -1x is a 6x, because a negative times a negative is a positive. And keep that inequality sign for now. You may have to flip it if you divide by a negative. And that -12 is the same on the other side. So now we have to get this 18 to the other side by adding 18 to both sides. This equals 0, it cancels out. This equals a +6. So now we're down to 6x is greater than or equal to 6. Well, all we have to do now is divide the 6 off, and it's not negative, so we're not flipping the sign. That leaves you with just x, and this leaves you with 1. Okay, so x is greater than or equal to 1. Now what if I said, hey, let's plot that on the number line? Could you do it? Yes, you can. So let's see here, we have, let's do 1 here in the middle, that was our answer, 2, and 0. X is greater than or equal to 1. So greater than goes to the right. The arrow goes to the right. So we're going to put our circle here at 1, and it goes to the right in the positive direction, and color it in because it is equal to. Let's do one more example. Then you'll be done. (5x) is greater than or equal to 5x plus 11. Okay, there's no distributing, there's no combining like terms, so now we need to just move our 5x to the other side. Well, when we subtract 5x from both sides, so we can just have numbers over here, we get a 0 over here. What do we get here? A 0. What? We've never seen this before. You can't have 0x. It's just 0. There's no x's. So now you can't have an answer. If there's ever a 0x, that means there are no solutions to this answer. You cannot get an answer because when you divide 0, when you do 5x minus 5x, you get a 0. Then you're just going to have 0 is greater than or equal to 11, because that's what you have left. Is this true? No, this is not true. It is not greater than or equal to 11. It's less than or equal to 11. So this is not true. It is false because there are no solutions. No solutions. There is nothing here that makes sense. So if you ever get that, then you can, with inequalities, you can get no solution for an answer if what you get doesn't make sense. And the only reason is because we got a 0 for the x here when we subtracted 5x from both sides. We were left without any x's. And a 0 is not less than or equal. It's not greater than or equal to 11. So we're going to go ahead and stop there tonight, and we're going to pick up on this tomorrow during class. We're going to do a little review for our quiz on Thursday. So remember, if there is something that you are not understanding in this process, then you need to take it upon yourself and come to tutorials every day but Wednesday morning. So you can't come tomorrow, but Wednesday mornings from 8 to 8:25, and ask me any questions, and I would be happy to help you. But have a great night, guys, and hopefully I met some of your parents at open house tonight. Again, I'm blessed to be your teacher, and I look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Bye.